Hey, Donna.
Hi,
How are you?
Donna. Doing awesome. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us today. It's week 3 for most of us, right, that have been shut down, and we're all still trying to learn how to navigate this crazy time of closed businesses and lost revenue. Every event has been canceled. That isn't a virtual event, and some of them are trying to go virtual now. But I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit today since I haven't been able to see you in person at some of our networking events and learn a little bit more and everybody that's watching learn a little bit more about you and your business and your coaching business and what you do, because I think a lot of what you do is online, which is a bonus right now. You're ahead of the curve already. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Donna Nelson. I'm a holistic empowerment coach and an organizational well-being consultant. I'm the founder of Primal Roots Wellness and the nonprofit Adopt a Single Mom Project. And in my coaching business, I work mainly with business professionals and businesses, helping them really optimize their energy of their teams through looking within, really optimizing who they are, getting alignment with their truth, and how through that does that maximize our energy and our productivity and our creativity, and really build cohesive teams within organizations. But as individuals, how then do we get more aligned with our truth so that we feel better about ourselves, can live within a purpose, and have more meaning in life. So and those things are all really fun. And right now what I'm seeing is that you know my clients and people are reaching out saying they need help figuring out how to be creative right now, how to get out of this state of overwhelm, disconnect from the chaos, and get into being more creative and making cash right now. So one of the things that I'm able to help with, because a lot of my work is around, what are the emotions that we're dealing with and we're struggling with that's creating these blocks, right? What's the mindset that we need to shift? Because many haven't figured out this level of mental flexibility that we need right now, right? So and because these are times that many of us have not encountered, and then figuring out how to take a business that's brick and mortar, where you work directly one-on-one with clients, or they come into your business, how do you shift now to keep your message out there, right, to stay visible, to stay connected in a really meaningful way, and be creative, to make money? And what I'm seeing is that people are getting stuck in the chaos, right, and feeling overwhelmed, and that's draining our energy, which is affecting our frontal lobe's ability to function properly. Which means that we're not being strategic right now. We can't be creative. So we need the tools, right? And some skill sets and some direction on how to do that.
Mhm.
So
And what you're saying is so important, because I was telling you earlier that even though we're all at home and we have all this time, we feel busier than ever. And so we get scattered and we can't be productive. And if it's just busy work, but it has to be quality busy work, and the internet's flooded, everybody's posting now. So, how do you stand out in what was already a crowded space? And now it's even more so. We're suffocated with information and opportunities and people vying for your business. And so what you're saying is very true, is we have to find that time to really do some meaningful work that pertains to our brick and mortar businesses, and how does that translate online? And you're saying how you teach people those kind of skills and the calming down and how to deal with stress. But you don't do it just for businesses and corporations. You also do one-on-one personal type things as well. Is that right?
yeah, most of my business is one-on-one, right? But it's also one-on-one with those leaders of those organizations. So it's not like, we've built a classroom online and everyone shows up. It's the leader of that organization saying, how do I shift? How do I I don't get my employees to show up. Do I bring them back? Like, what are some of these big decisions that have to be made right now, that on top of how do I shift?
Yeah.
Right? And either make money, or do I sit still and just work on strategy on the back end and let things just be, so that when we come back with maybe a new plan, a new approach. So there's all of those things. The foundation of that, though, is going back to your values. What is your purpose? How do you get in alignment with what's true and real about who you are and what that is for your business? Because when we're coming from that place of authenticity, there's always space for everyone, right? So, my timeline on Facebook, as an example, is filled with, all kinds of things trying to grab our attention right now. But the truth is, other than those ads, right? It's negative. So how do we build an immunity to protect ourselves with that? And I have this process of, really just tips on how do we build our immunity emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually right now, because that's what we really need to be doing. If we haven't developed this immunity that cover all aspects of our being, not just, we think about our immunity, our physical well-being, right? Like building our immune system, which is paramount right now. We're finding that, right? Like the strongest will survive, who have built their immunity across all of these domains: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. But those that are physical, they may not necessarily, I'll say, develop some kind of illness. But if you haven't, and I'll say, and then this is why I'm saying all of those are important, is because if you haven't developed an immunity of emotional, spiritual, and mental, then you're going to get beaten down. The chaos is going to overwhelm you. The lack of, direction, and, the daily changes, the new onslaught of information, all the media, these bits and bits, trillions of bits of information that are inundating us every day, are going to now cause stress and lower our immune system. So there's a lot of things that we can be doing right now to protect ourselves, but also, empower ourselves personally and professionally.
And that's so important right now, because people are forgetting, like, they don't even know what day it is. It's just the days roll into one and another, and they're finding themselves now being a home teacher, right? They're having to teach their kids, or some people are able to work from home. And so they're still dealing with all of that added work too. And so it's very important to be able to kind of tune in, like you're saying, to kind of who you are, and that inner voice of, what is our purpose, and how do we deal with each one, individually, because it's a stressful time, not just because of our schedule, but it's, you add in all the finance problems that are going to be happening now, and just being confined. That's something that, like you're saying, a lot of people, we've never experienced in our lifetime anything like this before, and hopefully we don't feel it again. So it's a good learning period as well, right? To see what works for us.
Well, here's the thing. We won't ever feel it again, because now we've experienced it.
Yeah.
So it will be different the next time. So just like any other tragedy or traumatic event, or what you thought was an extreme stressor that you don't know how you got through it, well, you did. And then when it came around the next time, or another stressor came, you had the ability to cope with it better, because you've already had a prior experience. But the idea is, in my work, is helping you prepare to be at your optimal performance, energy-wise, clarity-wise, and your body being in a healthy state across those 4 domains, so that when this happens, you're not rocked. It's just like okay, well, whatever. So now what are we going to do? And you shift, right? So, and well, you pause, and then you shift, right? Because we need to be reflective. What's our strategy? Go back to our purpose, because sometimes this stuff, when it happens super quickly, you know, we get thrown off, right? And then, we're off our game for a hot second. And then, but when you have that, when you have your purpose and you practice being in alignment with what's important from a values perspective, it's easy to stay on task, even if you have to pivot and go across a different bridge.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So having that immunity, as I call it, in those 4 areas, and having the tools and a way of managing each of those will allow you to always be prepared.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you have anything additional, but we can talk about, people want to learn a little bit more about how to prepare themselves and how you can help them. We'll have in the post how they can contact you. If you have any kind of quick tips of just things they could do today.
Yeah, I mean, I can go through each one of those areas with a couple of quick things if you want.
Sure, that'd be great.
All right, let me grab my worksheet. So, find that document. All right. So, of course, as I said, building our immunity across these areas is important because it's the stress that is causing the damage, right? It's causing us to not think clearly, not be focused, but also the way that damages our body.
Mm-hmm.
So, and makes it, lowers our immune system, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So doing some of these things will help shift from chaos to a more calm state, and get out of those negative emotions that are feeling like fear or anger. There's a lot of anger right now, and it's the most damaging emotion of all. And then that leads us into, feeling hopeless and anxious and depressed and all of that. So these, 4 areas of building your immunity will really help. So instead of taking that one dimension of just building our physical immunity, because that's not going to help when you're an emotional hot mess. So it's true, right? So this lack of emotional resilience and this ability to build mental flexibility and be more in control of what life is throwing at us is kind of where it's at. So I take this whole self approach in all of my coaching with all of my clients in any way, so that we're just optimizing all aspects of ourselves. So here's some quick tips on building our capacity for physical, emotional, and mental immunity. So looking at our physical immunity. So these are the basics. Most of us know these things, right? It's building a healthy immune system. So what are the things that we do? So detoxing, which where's the perfect place to do that? The 11th element, right? So just a few of the ways that you can detox, and there's many, right? But if our body is at its optimal state and doesn't have all this junk build up in it, then when these kinds of things happen, we are our body is more well prepared for the external stress that is coming. So other than that, stay hydrated with water, eliminating the junk food and the sugar because they are inflammatory and they're going to weaken the immune system, right? Double up, say, on our antioxidant nutrients, whether it's a supplement or making sure you're eating plenty of those foods that are antioxidants, and eating healthy in general.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I think is, in addition, I don't want to say the most helpful, but stretching, because this releases the tension in our body and that stuck energy that then it just allows things to flow more easily. And getting at least 10 minutes a day of movement. If it's walking, bouncing on a rebounder, they say you can't leave your house. You can leave your house. Get outside and walk around your yard for 10 minutes a day. But even and especially that, right? Being outside in nature, being in that grounding, environment is super helpful. And then, of course, sleep. right? I mean, it's one of the absolute most important. Getting quantity and quality of sleep are crucial because that's allowing our body to renew, restore, and rebuild. So, so that's physical immunity. Just a couple things at the most basic level. And then emotional immunity is having a regulated nervous system. It's our emotions that trigger the cascade of stress hormones, right? And it's that chronic, flow of stress hormones that damages our immune system, and then it doesn't allow our trillions of cells to function properly. So every part, that's the point of me saying taking this whole self approach, is because every part matters. And we aren't in, you can't fix one in isolation and then the others still function properly. It's not going to happen. So our ability to self-regulate is critical to our overall well-being. And when we feel in control of our emotions, then we have a more positive state, and that triggers those positive health building hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And and then what else do I want to share? Expressing what we feel is important. So this is a way to deal and build with our emotional immunity, right? To build up, to release the negative emotions and make room for more positive and empowering things. So how do we express what we feel and do it in a positive way as opposed to screaming at somebody? And so we can do this through writing in a journal. But if you don't like to write, you can do it on a recorder, right? Because just verbalizing it, hearing yourself verbalize it, writing it out on paper can be very cathartic. It's just a way of releasing it from your body, holding on to it. And then it just, that acknowledgement in itself is powerful. When we're holding on to it, we're not really acknowledging it, assessing it, or accepting it. So we want to release that energy from our body, and that's one way of doing it. And then give yourself permission to not be responsible for everyone else's emotional, mental, and financial well-being. So especially, moms or caregivers, we feel this, strong pull to be responsible for fixing everyone, taking care of everyone, and that will deplete you quickly. And oftentimes it will make you feel really resentful toward others because you're not getting that feedback. Because right now you need all of your resources, and feeling responsible for taking care of someone else or others in general is not really healthy. So we need to protect the energy that we allow in our space, right? We need to limit access to who has access to our feelings, right? Setting time and space boundaries. And part of that is, yes, getting off of social media, out from in front of the TV or whatever those things are. We really need more than ever, because of so much input and things that we have to know right now, to know the rules, right? We have to have some space each day where we're protecting ourselves from what we're allowing in our space. And then identify the places or the activities or the people that are safe for you. Who and what makes you feel supported and happy? Make time for that, right? Especially if it's something that even you can visualize, right? So for those of us who are alone, I have so many friends and clients who are alone, right? There's no one else living in your house. Now, there is a 25-year-old that lives here, but I don't really see him. And and there's not really much interaction unless it's in the kitchen. So it's like being alone for him and for me, So having an opportunity and creating this space for yourself, you can feel connected and get into a happy place, is going to allow us to come into these good emotions. So visualize where that is, right? It could be an outside place. It could be with another person. Where do you feel your best? And just visualize that for 2 to 5 minutes a day, and it will help lower your stress. And you can even find videos on face or on YouTube around visualization. That'll be really helpful. All right, so that's emotional immunity. So mental immunity is just a little bit different because our emotional and physical well-being are so closely tied. One just leads right into triggers the other, if you will. So with our mental immunity, we need to create new patterns of thought when we're being overwhelmed and inundated with negative thoughts or information or even beliefs, right? People are just projecting into the future. Oh, having this belief about what it's going to be like when this is all over, or how things are going to be different. And it's, for the love of God, stay right here. Like, don't worry about that. The point is, we have no idea. So why are you projecting what it's going to be like based on what someone else's theory or idea or their belief system is? It goes back to stay in your own values, stay in your own truth, stay on what your own vision is for an outcome. Every day we create our own outcomes. We're creating our own life every day, either based on our own alignment or someone else's. And usually someone else's is in their best interest, not in ours. So continuing to go back. So mental immunity is super important. And one of the ways that you can keep bringing yourself back to what's important and what you believe in is auditing your space, kind of like I was talking about with emotions. What are you allowing in your space that's affecting how you're feeling? So auditing your space about what are you letting in your head, right? Who's talking, who's creating the stories and the beliefs that are going on in your head. We have enough problem with that without all of this, with, always, working through, these negative childhood beliefs and, trying to continue to believe in ourselves and what we want to do and all of that, right? So, what are you allowing in, and how is it making you think? So creating an assessment for that is important, because those thoughts are also creating emotions. And are those emotions now making you feel good or making you feel bad? Is it positive, supportive, and empowering? If it's not, then you need to shift it. So here's a way to do that. So ask yourself, I have little signs like this hanging around. One is over the kitchen sink, right? And is this, mine says, is what you're thinking right now what you want to create for your life? But what I have here is another way of saying the same thing is this thought information that I'm allowing in my head what I want creating my life right now? So none of us want COVID-19 creating our life right now, but yet many of us are creating a life around exactly that. So, so we have to shift those negative thoughts and beliefs to something positive and empowering, and then you'll feel better and you'll be more productive. You'll have more clarity about, who you want to be, how you want to be, right? All those things you want to be, do, and have will feel more possible to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the last one is spiritual immunity. So with spiritual immunity, we want to identify ways to nurture love in our life. We're either living in fear or we're living in love, right? So for too many right now, things are fear-driven. So how do we identify ways to draw things that make us feel more nurtured? When we feel more nurtured, we feel more safe and secure, and then we're more open and available to love, right? And love is that highest vibration, that highest state of energy where we're going to be more positive and where our body is going to be at its healthiest state to be able to generate what it needs to function properly. So what are the activities that nurture your soul, right? Is it being in nature? Is it meditating or praying? Is it reading? So what do you do for guidance, right? These are some things that we can assess to figure out how to, I'm many, may not even be doing any of these things right now. So we need to go back to these things so that we can get into that state more easily. So those are things to do right now. Take time every day to be reflective. Assess, how did my day go? Literally just, how did my day go? Was it a shit show? Was I a crazy hot mess all day? What, and then like, what did I actually sign up for today? Like, what did I get out of bed saying I was going to do today that just didn't happen? Where did I lose my shit? Right. So whatever those things are. And then now you have that awareness, right? And go, okay, so that's not going to happen again. Or tomorrow I'm going to do better. Right. So, did you make a contribution today? What was that like? Where did you do your best today? So, and allow yourself permission to be okay with whatever the outcome was, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're human, right? So recognize how you align better tomorrow. So, and then the last piece in this spiritual immunity is, again, coming back to that love. And one of the ways that we can come back to love is through gratitude and appreciation. So write a list or talk it out, if you have someone you can talk to, another human, or even doing video like this, right? I'm doing this with a lot of my friends right now. We're just doing video because it's a way to connect and actually see another human, even though I can't smell and touch you, which is really important to me personally. But anyway, write out a list of experiences, people, and things about yourself that you're grateful for and that you appreciate. And that's just going to help raise your energy to a place of love and connection. And connection is what we're really, I'll say, suffering with. I feel like people are really suffering with this lack of connection, not necessarily social connection, because I mean, even what we're doing now, engaging in Facebook groups or, that kind of stuff, it's social connection, but we're really lacking that emotional connection. When I talk to my clients or some of my friends, it's the emotional connection that is making it feel hard right now. So coming back to these things that we can really appreciate in ourselves and in others, and that life offers us through experiences, can really help us come back to a good energy place to feel a deeper connection in our heart.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you were saying constantly through the whole thing. Is one, don't be too hard on yourself, but also kind of connect with yourself. And like you said, if you're in isolation, or if you don't have another human, or if you, like you do, but you don't really see them, I do the same thing of what you're doing. Last night, me and I have two girlfriends that we make it a point to always see each other, once or twice a month, and we can't do it now. So we did a virtual happy hour last night. We just so we could stay connected. And I think that's important of what you said too. It's not, I think it would be good for our mental state too, to reach out to somebody else, because you never know what that means to them, because they might be feeling the exact same thing you are, and maybe worse, right? Mm-hmm. We all deal with isolation differently. And some of us have pets to talk to and to take some of that off on, and some of us don't. So how do you have to kind of keep that in perspective. And guess what, just reach out to a couple people, because you might just save their day with just a quick, hey, how you doing, how's it going today, and just checking in.
Honest to goodness. And you know what happens, it's so reciprocal, right? You reach out to someone and they're like, oh my God, you have no idea how much better I feel just in this couple minutes of conversation. You just made them feel great, right? You've relieved something for them. They feel valued. They feel seen. They feel now a little bit less isolated. But what did they do for you in return? You're like, oh, okay, I feel really good now. Like I actually did something that made a difference today. Like it's a little thing. It can be a little thing. That's the point, right? We don't have to go out and change the world this week. We can just impact one person by hey, thinking about you, what's going on? So many in the Adopt a Single Mom Project, so many of our moms, they're on the front lines. They're still working, and many are working from home, but
Oh,
many are out in the community working because they work in healthcare in some aspect or another, or work in service that is still opening and operating. And that's very stressful. You're trying to manage your kids at home, figuring out who's taking care of my kids while I'm working. And then I'm worried about bringing this godforsaken thing home from getting my kids sick, or me getting sick worse as a single mom, because who's going to take care of me? And like, we worry about all of these things. So, again, having a strong immune system is only one aspect of it. We've got to be able to, build our whole our capacity. So it's not really what's going on around us that matters. It's what's going on within us that matters. That's what's going to control our state of our whole being. So, implementing some of these things, from each of the areas is going to build a stronger, more empowered you and just help, build our immunity to face any challenges that life has. And again, like when we started this, right? Like just so next time something like this comes along, we're in a better place. We have a bigger, a fuller capacity to cope.
right, because you've already dealt with it, so you have kind of an idea how to attack it.
Well, but you're doing the work, right? You're doing the work on a regular basis to build your tolerance, your capacity in each of these four areas of your being.
Right. And it was kind of a good segue into what you were just talking about is we all have our challenges, but then you have this group of a population, single moms, that struggles even more because all the burden is on their shoulders. So if we can, let's do the word of the day, pivot to the nonprofit that you, in addition to all this other work that you do and that you help people with, you also kind of run this nonprofit called Adopt a Single Mom. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the Adopt a Single Mom Project serves working single moms here in Northeastern Pennsylvania. Now, of course, we have a much bigger reach because we're on social media, but we're a membership organization for working single moms here in Northeastern PA. And most of our moms are from Luzerne, Lackawanna County, and there's a couple that are, from bordering counties who are members. But, the mission of the Adopt a Single Mom Project is to empower these working single moms, helping them with the supports and resources, sustainable resources, and walking beside them to help them, help fill the gaps that are typical to working single moms so that they can thrive. I was a working single mom.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, alluded to, my son is 25 now. My youngest son, Lucas, passed away when he was 3. My boys were 12 years apart. 2 different fathers, neither one were involved in their lives. So as a sole parent, I realized the challenges that working single moms faced. And when I was looking for a way to give back to the community in a meaningful way as an extension of my business, using some of those skills and finding a way to connect my life experiences as a way to find a group to give back to, it was the working single mom population that is so underserved and undervalued and under-recognized by our community as having any needs at all.
Mhm.
Because they're the ones so often who are super resourceful, right? They're working 2, 3 jobs, they're paying their bills, they're not looking for a handout, they're the ones that are on the PTA committee, they're the ones that have their kids involved and engaged in enrichment activities, and they're volunteering and then getting their kids in those things, and they're killing themselves in the process
Yeah,
to make
right.
all that happen,
Right.
having their kids in private school, whatever those things are. So, they're working multiple jobs, or I should say, or doing without, they're not buying, the latest and greatest clothes and, handbags and getting their nails done maybe, or, whatever. They're, using all of their resources to support their kids. And as a result of that, they struggle from an emotional and a social perspective, and very often financially. That I know for me, for years, I would skip bills at Christmas time to make sure that my son had anything and everything that was on his list, and things he didn't even think about.
You do
So
that as a mom, right? You do that. You want your kids to not know that there's something going on, and you just want it to be the best possible experience for them always, right?
yeah, I call it the single mom syndrome, because we overcompensate in some areas because of other areas that are lacking, right? So, and sometimes we do it consciously, and I think often we do it unconsciously, right? We just want to make sure they have everything, whatever that is.
Right, right. And so when you say you help with resources for these single moms, what kind of resources are you talking about?
So there's a few things that we're working on now. The main way that we're supporting moms right now, because it's the main way that they've told us that they need support right now, and that is social and emotional support. So once a month, we do a unique social outing where it's just the moms, no kids. We fundraise to have the moms come out. We buy dinner, and sometimes we'll have someone come out and do some kind of an inspirational talk, something that's really relevant to our mom population, or someone from the community that has a product or a service that they could benefit from as well. But the point is that it's a time for us to get together in our sisterhood of moms, be with other women who can really relate to what's going on. Any mom will tell you, single mom especially, that the thing we struggle with the most is having someone that we can go to that is not judgmental, who gets it. Because so often our go-tos are either, our kids' fathers, or our family, right? Or our close friends who aren't even single parents and don't have a flipping clue. But they always like to hand out, recommendations on what you could have, should have, would have done.
Right.
And it's not helpful. It feels defeating. And so then when we get sick and tired of that, and we feel shitty enough about ourselves, then we just self-isolate. And that's where it becomes really dangerous for moms. Especially those that were like me, who were the sole caregiver for their kids. You don't get that time away generally if you don't have family nearby that will take the kids for a few hours or a day or two, so that you can just have some you time, whether that's out with your girlfriends or just hanging out doing nothing for a whole day, nurturing yourself, or going and doing some kind of self-care activities.
Right. And I know that you do something special for them, especially during the holidays.
Yeah. Yes. And I sometimes forget that. So, even though it's our biggest thing, right? So in November 2017, that's how I got started with the Adopt a Single, building the Adopt a Single Mom project, right? I wanted to gift a few working single moms, so that she had presents just for her under the tree. As a community, as a nation, we focus so much on children to make sure they have presents at Christmas, or, coats at winter, or whatever those things are, right? Book bags at the start of school. We focus so much on poverty and making sure the needs of children are met. And that's all good and correct, right? We should be doing those things. Yet the moms who are raising, the 17 million single moms in this country,
Wow.
who are, raising these children, are neglected. They neglect themselves, and as a community, we neglect them. So, so I wanted to make sure these moms were seen, and that they knew that someone saw it and got it and appreciated her for who she is, right? As a human, as a woman, not just as a mom. Because one of the challenges for all moms is that we lose our identity in our children, right? We live our life through them so often, and disconnect from meaning of ourselves and our own purpose. So, and again, coming back to, tying that into my work, that's what I want to be able to support these moms in, living as women, as individuals, and being a mom is not your identity. It's a role,
Yes,
right?
right.
It's a role in our life, right? so, at Christmas, now we've done 3 Christmases. We've grown every year of gifting moms, and this has been very grassroots. It's through my friends and family, and through the Facebook community of just reaching out and sharing these moms' stories and what we're doing. And so this past Christmas, we gifted 94 working single moms here in
Amazing.
northeastern Pennsylvania. Yeah. So, and we raise we don't, I guess this was me, because people have said often, well, why don't you, spend less money on each mom, because then you can impact more moms. And so I have a thing about that. And that kind of goes into a money mindset thing around, apparently people think there's a shortage of money, and there's not. But, so we raise $100 for each mom, and we make sure that she has at least 6 to 8 gifts for her under the tree. And then we also give her a gift card so she can, do whatever she wants. She might want to buy something for herself, or for the house, or for her kids, or whatever. And we still don't feel like that's a lot, but it gets our point across. It allows us to connect with moms. And, the greatest thing that comes out of the Christmas drive is moms giving us the feedback when we survey them, saying, it just feels so good to know that there's an organization out there that is supporting working single moms and sees all the efforts that we do put in and how hard it is. So, yeah.
That's a super initiative, and especially around that time of year, we need to feel engaged and appreciated, and what a nice thing that you do for them. That's so nice.
Yeah,
So,
it's a lot of fun.
and you also
I get way more out of it than they do.
Oh yeah, always, right?
Yeah.
And I think you also do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you just hold a like a job fair for them?
We did. So our community resource event we did in January. So that's now an annual thing. It for Luzerne County, and then we had one planned for April in Lackawanna County. And this year would have been our first year, and I'm so bummed. And we will do it. I don't know when, if we'll wait until next year, or if we'll do one, if we can get one in May, or rather maybe June. So, because, it takes a lot of planning, and now we're into a new season with hotel space and all of that. But nonetheless, so 2 years in a row now, we've done this community resource event in Luzerne County, and it's for all of our moms to come. Again, it's another opportunity for a social night out. But with this one, instead of it just being the moms, it's for the family, right? For moms and her kiddos. So, but the event itself is about providing resources for these moms that 2 things. One, they either don't know or even available, because the working single mom, depending on which income, I'll say it this way, where she is on the federal poverty level, right? How far above federal poverty level she is. So there's some resources if you're, say, 133% above federal poverty level, like free and reduced school lunch, right? Or qualifying for things like LIHEAP, which is heat assistance, or WIC if you have young children, right? So, like really young, like under 3 or 4, I forget where WIC cuts off, but and then, but then if you're at 175% above federal poverty level, or even 150, you don't qualify for any services, depending on, going up from there. So there are some resources at the community level, even at the lower end, getting discounted childcare. There's a resource for that, but even that, there's a wait list. There aren't that many daycares that have openings, because there's so many that need this level of support. So, but anyway, which is why it's important for us as the Adopt a Single Mom Project to be able to help our moms understand these resources so they can use their money for other things like building an emergency fund, getting out of debt, planning for the future, those kinds of things. So if we can help them free up money in these ways, then they have more cash available for other things. And so this event was bringing in only community resources that meet the needs of our working single mom population. And then our moms had asked for a job fair. So this year we added some employers to the community resource event, and we really had some great employers. And again, we're very mission specific, I want to put it that way. So every nonprofit, every organization, every business employer that came was hand selected to make sure that they were offering sustainable wages, that they were hiring right now, that they actually did have a service that was available right now for our moms, and that it met those moms in the middle, you know. So some people don't get invited because they don't have something meaningful to offer. That, and then we have the kids there. So we had the kids in a separate room, and we had activities for them to keep them occupied. And everybody eats. We do a sit-down dinner. It's family, it's not really family style. I'm calling it family style, but it's plated, so that we can all sit and have a time to socialize and network and connect, make new friends, but also business connections as well.
What a great resource, because so many times there are programs out there available and we don't know that they even exist. And so the fact that you're bringing them out to the forefront is great work. I love that. And I love everything that you do for, like you said, the single moms, because we don't pay attention. We're so wrapped up in our own world, and we have to realize that they need help. They need help, and they're not going to ask for it usually.
They are not going to ask for it. And if they do ask for it, we're asking each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, and there's a reason, right? Because, you know, at one point when you did, here's how it's a learned behavior, right? Because at one point when you actually did need help, maybe it was when you had your first child, or when the child's father left you suddenly, and you may have been working or you may not have been working, it doesn't matter, but you go to the community, wherever these agencies are, to ask for help, and they go, we don't have any funding for you,
Mm-hmm.
or you make too much money, and meanwhile you can't pay your flipping bills, you know. So we become used to, there's nothing for us, and we don't even look and ask anymore, because we're not going to waste our time, because ain't nobody got time to be or the emotional I have no emotional more room, right? Like, you're raising your kids, you're struggling through this time. I cannot handle another no. I cannot handle another rejection, right? So I cannot handle another disappointment. So we disconnect from it. Mm-hmm. And so our job is to help find those resources for them. But the other piece of that, Donna, is and the reason we do this event in the evening is because guess what our moms are doing? Working. And guess when they work? The same exact hours these agencies are open. Like, it just amazes me how we have these resources in the community that are to serve the community, but yet they're 8 to 4:30 every day.
We can't get to them.
No, nobody has time. We're working.
Right.
And then guess what? Even if you were open a little late, what am I going to bring my 3 kids and drag them there and sit in your waiting room for 2 hours? It's madness. It's such an archaic, broken system that just does not serve the higher good of our overall community.
And I'm afraid that number is going to increase with everything that's going on now, right?
Look, it's a joke, right? Like, I got so annoyed with one of my friends a couple of days ago, talking about laying people off, right? And I have this belief system around, listen, there's support for small businesses and big corporations, and there's going to be funding coming out. And I just feel for the businesses that are going to need these employees coming back, and they're going to want to pick up right where they left off, that they should have a share in the responsibility of paying their employees to stay home.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and not put them on unemployment and think they're going to live on 2/3 of what they couldn't live on to start with, and then have to wait at least 3 weeks to even do that, particularly when they're single moms. And it doesn't matter who they are, you
Right.
know? So the conversation went from there to, no, there's no waiting period. They're going to be cutting those checks, like cutting the checks, right? Cutting those checks, issuing that money this week. I'm like, are you flipping delusional? Like, do you live in this world? First of all, the system is going to crash. What happened? The system crashed. It's like freaking mayhem, you know?
All-time
It's
high
complete
reporting.
mayhem. Say
It
it
is.
again.
It's all-time high reporting of people, of about 1 million people going for unemployment now.
Well, even this small, trying to process all the small business stuff. The systems are crashing. They are overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
So to say that someone is going to file for unemployment, get 2/3 of what they couldn't fucking live on to start with, and then it's going to be here at the end of next week so they can buy groceries. No, I'm sorry. It isn't happening. And it's not going to happen.
Right.
You know, these are challenging times, and I'm feeling it from our moms. One of our moms, she's not a member, but she's a mom that we gifted at Christmas. And she reached out and she had this thing going on in her house, that she needed like a service person to come in. And I said, call around and get some pricing. Let me see what I can find, to support her. And I didn't have any resources. And it was literally, Donna, $100 problem.
Mm.
Like, she literally found someone that would come out the next day to solve her $100 problem. And she's like, got laid off because of COVID-19, and no money coming in yet. And she said, with my last paycheck, I paid the minimal on all of my bills, and I have $50 until 50
Mm.
until I get money again. And I don't know when that's
Don't know
going
when
to
that is. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's roll that again into something else, because I see you're wearing one of your beautiful necklaces that I see you wear all the time. We've talked about that before. So those are your intention necklaces that people probably have seen, before. A lot of the celebrities wear them, and people are making them. So talk about what those are, and maybe how people can help support single moms through those.
Yes. So hopefully next month, we're still going to be doing an event at your place, right? So that we can do a fundraiser. Yes. May. Everything is going to be new in May.
Right.
So yeah. So the intention bracelets, we do bracelets, not necklaces, to help fundraise for the Adopt a Single Mom project. So this was something that I was doing in my business, because I do workshops for these, and they were just a fun thing to start making for my clients, to set intentions, a positive intention on either a mindset or an outcome that we want for our life. So with this, mine says gratitude. And so I custom make the word to set the intention that someone wants in a bracelet that looks just like this, with or without the beads. These are rose quartz beads that are for abundance. So can always use more of that.
Yeah.
So in all areas of our lives, right? So so we do make these bracelets and sell them, and then part of the proceeds go to the Adopt a Single Mom project.
And can somebody buy them now? Are they available now?
They are. I don't have it on I should put it on the Adopt a Single Mom page, but I have it on my coaching page that it's just under services.
Okay.
So
We'll have that listed in the post as well.
yeah, I'll redo that. So I should promote that more. So yes.
But that's the way people
Usually when we're doing events in the community is when we have them to sell. Usually, if we're doing vendor table space or something like that, unless someone has us doing an event like we're going to be doing in May.
Right. Super. Well, yeah, so we'll try and get people to reach out to you and get those bracelets from you and kind of help those funds come in, because I have a feeling that a lot of everybody, including the single moms, are going to need that help coming up. It's going to be
Yes.
good.
And one of the things that we're needing right now. It's one of the things that's on our vision, and we just don't have it funded yet. Is our rainy day fund for things just like what we're talking about. You know, when these kinds of crises come, or our moms have $100 problem, and they got laid off, or don't have it in their budget. We want to be able to provide the financial resources to support them. Because again, we're circling right back to the beginning, because our overall overarching mission is for our moms to be healthy financially, healthy emotionally, healthy mentally, healthy physically, and spiritually. And when they're stressed out and overwhelmed and feel hopeless because they don't have the resources to support them, in whatever area that is, that creates stress. And we know that creates an inflammatory environment in our body and makes moms more susceptible to getting sick. And we want to help offset that as much as possible through education and resources, and helping eliminate some of those stressors.
Well, that's so great. And all the work you do, whether it's your business or your nonprofit, I mean, you do so much good for other people, and we appreciate that very much. And we thank you for sharing all of that with us today. And hopefully, somebody took value out of this, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people contacting you for your business services that you do, but also if somebody has those extra resources right now, they can help with the Single Mom Project and donate those much needed funds that you need all the time.
Well, thank you for letting me share. I always love an opportunity to share about any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, and it's our pleasure. We're happy to be involved with you, and we look forward to when we do finally get you to the spa and have your event there. So, but thank you for everything, Donna. It was great. Did I miss anything that you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think we covered so much territory.
We really did. It was a lot of information and so timely right now. So thank you. And again, we'll post all of your links, how people can get a hold of you, everything in the post. And so if anybody has any questions, don't worry, that will all be there.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Great. Well, thanks, Donna.
See you
Good
soon.
to talk to you. All right, we'll see you soon.